Who can take a sunrise, sprinkle it with blood, kill a few kids, then go and make some fudge? The Candyman. The Candyman can because he mixes it with blood and makes the world taste good. Everything he makes, everything he bakes, he kills it. Right before he kills his victims, he stares into their eyes and says nothing. Robbie's talking about Willy Wonka? Wait. Am I the only one that freaking thinks that Willy Wonka's a murderer? Alright, before we continue, this is very spoiler heavy. We're going to be ruining the whole plot, essentially, of the book and the movie, and we're only going to be focusing, I mean, this theory really only applies to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the 1971 movie, not really the book and the 2005 version, which, by the way, don't fucking watch. Because
it's crap. The cover of this book is crap. He looks like a rapist. Don't buy this cover of this book or see the 2005 one. Moving on.
Yeah, read the book, just not that piece of shit.
Fuck you, Tim Burton.
Yeah. But yeah, regardless, well, let's just start it. Alright, to start things up, Willy Wonka's candy is world renowned to be probably the best ever made. And some rival companies have decided to hire spies to infiltrate his factory. And he doesn't like this. Pretty much he fires his whole staff. Fires them because of spies. Instead of beefing up security, he does... First of all, why the hell would you fire a bunch of employees?
Can we think about how big that factory is, too? He just put hundreds of people out of work overnight. Just you're fucking fired. All of them. Everyone out.
What could possibly trigger him to do that? Could it possibly be that, his secret ingredient is fucking children?
Soylent fucking Green.
So, essentially, he panicked, freaked the fuck out, and hasn't seen the light of day for 3 fucking years, apparently.
You know what? No one worked for them. I think he didn't fire them. I think he disposed of all his workers.
This is actually a thing I want to point out right here. Yeah, at one point in the movie, he says, oh yeah, like, he tastes something, and then he goes, oh, grabs a shoe and throws it in. He goes, what was that for? Gives a little kick. First off, that pile of clothes right there, where did he get all these fucking random clothes? I'm starting to think that those were either clothes from the children that he lured in, or some ex-employees. I mean, how would people react if they found out that the ingredient was children? And this is why he hires Oompa Loompas. Legitimate freaking slaves, and not only are they cool with children dying, they sing about it. They get their rocks off on seeing children die. And also, Willy Wonka does get off on this too. I mean, at one point, when freaking Augustus is stuck in the pipe, he says, suspense is terrible. Hope it'll last. Also, who the hell is the guy in the beginning of the film, when freaking Charlie's looking on at the very desolate, dark freaking Wonka factory, just rolls up with a fucking cart full of cleavers, starts uttering this freaking poem, and then says, no one ever goes in, no one ever comes out.
Trust me, I chopped him up myself.
Yeah, is he the fucking butcher? Is he the butcher for freaking Wonka? Because the reason also I think this, because in the poem, he talks about little men. Very specific thing to know about the fucking factory. No one's been in there. How would anyone know about the Oompa Loompas? I'm pretty sure that guy's got a fucking exclusive membership just to go in there, just to make sure that everything's, he has a freaking cart of cleavers. What do you do with cleavers? Chop meat.
And you clean the evidence off the site. No one's going to come back for him.
And he was also literally right near the fucking factory. He was probably just done with his shift. He's probably just leaving right there with a cart. Dude.
Charlie, what are you doing here? I'm not supposed to kill you tomorrow. I mean, later.
Also, a side thing, each child represents a deadly sin. We got gluttony, pride, greed, and sloth. Charlie's technically envy, but...
what about lust?
There's no lust. We're talking about children here, you sick fucks. Jesus Christ. Also, there's another one, wrath, which is actually something that's given to Charlie to, use his anger to, pretty much backstab Wonka, but he doesn't take it because, that's why he's a good person.
Kid, yeah.
But whatever. But maybe that's a way of justifying him killing the kids. Maybe Wonka has become a freaking judge, jury, and executioner, or like he thinks of himself as a god,
Maybe the real sequel to this is actually Seven by David Fincher.
Okay, and on top of that, so yeah, how are we so freaking sure that he was, prepared to kill those children? Well, if you notice, every single time they get into a vehicle, there's the perfect amount of seats for the accommodating, guests. Augustus drowns. And then all of a sudden, here comes this boat with the exact number of seats as many as guests. They're not expecting to bring freaking Augustus. And also, on top of that, freaking Willy Wonka's really, really smart and kind of a strategist because, again, with the deadly sins thing, he uses weaknesses, or he just preys on the weaknesses of these children. The fat kid gives him a freaking river of chocolate, drowns in it, gets sucked into a pipe, burned to death.
But he must have planned this out thoroughly, because if any of those other kids would have been drinking it, they would have passed through the pipe quickly. That pipe perfectly did not fit Augustus Gloop.
And on top of that, Violet Beauregard, a world-renowned gum chewer, happens to give her a piece of gum that turns her into a blueberry. And on top of that, when she chews it, this is a quote from the fucking movie. They always become blueberries. Who's they?
The fuck is they?
How many times has he given this shit to anyone? Fine, not children, but how many test subjects has he given freaking this gum to just turn them into Okay, and also, what if she didn't die? That's the more fucked up thing. What if she didn't die? What if he kept her around like a goddamn cow?
That's what I think, yeah.
Constantly juicing her whenever.
Well, no, not just her. I think it's the other kids. He said they always
become blueberries, and it's just...
He has a factory of people in that huge place that are pumping out blue juice.
And that's, yeah, it's just filling for like some kind of fucking weird ass candy. It's ridiculous. Next up, Veruca Salt. Yeah. Here's this greedy bitch who really wants everything. I want this, I want that. Golden eggs. How could she not resist? And on top of that, she stands on a freaking thing that happens to perfectly say that she's a bad egg, and she goes right down and falls to her death. Yeah, it's like, oh, she could have been fallen incinerated. No, she fell to her fucking death. She fell a long way down. And then next up, Mike. Mike TV, obviously it's in his freaking name. He's obsessed with television. And here it goes. Oh yeah, here's my new contraption that turns small or big things into small things. It's the same kind of concept as, like, you know, a television. But in this sense, it's actually, you know, teleportation. And the outcome is we get a tiny little boy. And what does he do? He tells them that, oh, young boys are springy and really elastic. Again, how the fuck would you know that without having done this before? How many children have you stretched to death, you sick fuck? Now, let's talk about Wonka himself.
He's fucking insane.
No, man, he's just eccentric. You know, he's a candy maker who... Yeah, you're right, he's fucking insane. Okay, dude, this guy... What else do you need than the freaking tunnel? The whole tunnel scene. It just proves that he's a fucking psycho. That whole scene is just... We don't need that. This is a kid's film. We don't need to go through a freaking scary tunnel showing a chicken getting his head chopped off and him screaming at the top of his lungs talking about the hounds of hell. The danger must be growing because there's not a sign of what the fuck is going on?
Who installed that, by the way? How about just a regular tunnel, you fucking psycho?
And okay, and that fine. He's not insane. I don't know what the fuck
he's just eccentric.
Fine, but he does not care about the children's lives.
Don't just stand there. Do something.
Help. Police. Murder.
Stop. Don't.
Stop. Don't. Come back.
He does not give a flying shit about those kids. And again, these kids are shitty, but still, something, man. And again, okay, no, they signed away their freaking lives, so why does he care? He's gonna mix them right into the fucking chocolate.
With his fucking logic, the psycho, they're children. They don't know what they're signing. They're like 12 years old.
It's ridiculous.
How come they signed the contract?
Also, another thing, you may be thinking, what the hell? He doesn't seem like a bad guy. I mean, he gave a whole freaking chocolate factory to a child.
Who better than a child?
Yeah, a freaking a small little human with an impressionable mind. You can brainwash.
Easily programmed.
Yeah, you can just... Because if you give this to an adult, like, hey, yeah, you gotta murder children to make the candy just right. I'm sorry, what?
Are you out of your mind? Also, this is the kid with the least structure around his family. Everyone else already has their fate decided. Charlie, on the other hand?
And also the whole thing where we said before, like, oh yeah, the kids, you know, it's justified. Yeah, the whole time even Charlie saw these kids that were just pieces of shit. Again, just use that as like a freaking niche. And he's like, you see those children, what they did wrong? They all died because of it.
You're a good boy.
No, you almost fucked up, but you redeemed yourself. That's why you're worthy. This is so fucking wrong. Oh my god. What? Yeah, so essentially, Willy Wonka, and not only that, but like, yeah, I can't live forever. And also, if the cops decide to come by, I can point the finger right to fucking you. Like, I didn't know the kid was trying to start shove, you know, dead kids into the chocolate bars. I didn't do that, but I guess when he took over, it's his fault.
How long has he been planning this?
Passing on the guilt.
I would be willing to bet that there are tunnels deeply rooted in that factory, his escape plan that gets all around the world.
I mean, look at that fucking tunnel. There's the freaking boat. Yeah, you think the cops are gonna try to follow him through that? They're gonna be fucking no. It's gonna be too crazy.
And the same place he found the Oompa Loompas, my opinion, somewhere in the center of the fucking earth. All right, he's taking that train way down when the cops come in.
And all right, fine. If all that shit wasn't enough to convince you, you might be thinking, come on, this is Roald Dahl, a freaking just a world famous children's author. Why the hell would he write something this dark? Or he wouldn't write something like this dark, right? Right? Bullshit. If you actually know anything of his past works, I mean, yes, he's tons of things, you know, like the BFG, Matilda, the
Witches, yeah.
The Witches, and also a story about a woman, you know, leading in, or, you know, bringing in boarders to kill them with cyanide and stuff them so they don't leave her alone in her apartment. That's a real fucking book. Not kidding. Look up the freaking compilation of, it's a compilation of his darkest, most adult, you know, themed short stories. And it's called Kiss Kiss. One of the stories is that, what I just freaking said. And he is an amazing writer. He has great range. Talking about happy-go-lucky things and a murdering landlady. I think it's actually called The Landlady. Just look that up. But regardless, fine, the book and the 2005 movie, you see the kids come out, it's completely fine. But still, the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory version of the film did not show those kids exiting. Was very fucked up, had very dark, scary moments for no reason at all. And whereas Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka was very nutty and kind of just quirky and just dumb, Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka is a child murderer who shoves their bodies into the candy,
Soylent fucking Green,
making the whole world cannibals. Well, that's the video. And if you're probably wondering, do I actually believe this theory to be true? Of course not. It's just a cool, different way to watch the film. And it does not ruin my childhood. I can watch the film with the original intent and with this in mind. Regardless, the original film is just a freaking awesome, awesome childhood movie. And I just love the shit out of it. Just watching it with this, you know, different mindset as an adult. Yes, it's fucked up, but it's still enjoyable.
If you want to hear something fucked up, though, can we talk about how Grandpa Joe is a fucking sociopathic asshole? I mean, everyone in that family is sick and bedridden. The mom's working her ass off to feed everybody.
And the second something interesting happens...
Oh, I can walk. Yeah. Oh, look at this bullshit show. Yeah, if you've been lying around that long, your legs don't work, buddy. But suddenly, yeah, get up, stand up. And then they go to the factory, and, oh, Charlie, you can have my factory. You know, you're a great boy. Grandpa Joe, can I live here too? Fuck you, Grandpa Joe.
He's a fucking leech.
He's a leech.
And also, you may be feeling, what the fuck, this came out of nowhere. There's actually subreddits of stuff
dedicated to this guy.
People fucking hate Grandpa Joe, and I just found this out, and you know what? I can't help but fucking agree. This guy is a piece of shit. So, sorry, that's probably fodder for another freaking video. We'll just
let us know in the comments what you think. Yeah.
Literally, just go find a subreddit. You'll be laughing your ass off because there's actual, you know, meat behind that part or that theory. But whatever. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later.